Hello there, welcome to my views and news, another video for you, new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, Ethiopia PM Abiy has given an assurance to US diplomats about his plans to gain access to the Red Sea. More than a month ago, PM Abiy took a position saying that Ethiopia had natural rights to gain access to the sea, and that led to start of regional tensions, bilateral tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea, between Ethiopia, Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti. The three governments issued statements, and it was being said that there could be a new war in the Horn of Africa. What did the Prime Minister of Ethiopia guarantee, or what did he say to US diplomats? Details for you. Secondly, Sudan is all praise for Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, while Sudan is calling UAE mafia. Use of words for Isaias Afwerki from Sudanese leaders indicates that Isaias Afwerki is now an African icon for Sudanese leaders. I have details for you of a statement of a Sudanese journal. Firstly, viewers, U.S. House Committee on Foreign Relations held a meeting last night, a hearing on Ethiopia, on U.S. foreign policy about Ethiopia. Mike Hammer appeared there. US lawmakers asked questions. Some very tough questions were asked. Questions about PM Abiy's statements regarding access to the sea, questions about presence of Eritrean military, alleged presence in Tigray, questions about conflict in Amhara, questions about Amhara-Oromo conflict, etc. Use of IMF, World Bank, other financial institutions to tell Ethiopia that Ethiopia should resolve its conflicts. Mike Hammer was asked a question about access to the sea, that PM Abiy's recent statements about access to Red Sea have caused regional tensions. And there Mike Hammer explained. Mike Hammer confirmed his meeting with the Ethiopian PM Abiy, and Mike Hammer said that he discussed this matter with the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. And PM Abiy assured to the US diplomats that Ethiopia only wanted commercial, peaceful access to a port in a neighboring country. This is the position taken by Ethiopian PM in talks with Mike Hammer. But when PM Abiy spoke around a month ago, he spoke as if Ethiopia was demanding unconditional full access to the corridor, to the port, to the coast in a neighboring country. So it means that PM Abiy toned down his position a little. And US Special Envoy Mike Hammer was heard saying that US would support Ethiopian government's position regarding peaceful commercial access to a port in a neighboring country. Nothing wrong with that. So either Ethiopian government has withdrawn from its position, it was taking a very strong position, now it wants access through dialogue, or to access to port through dialogue. Secondly, US lawmakers proposed use of IMF, World Bank, other financial institutions, use of USAID to force Ethiopia to implement Pretoria deal to resolve conflicts, internal conflicts. One US lawmaker proposed that it should be ensured that no new loans are granted to Ethiopia until the issue of Western Tigray is resolved, where ethnic cleansing has been committed, where referendum, idea of referendum is a joke. Referendum cannot be held because Tigrayans have been expelled. So first priority should be return of IDPs to Western Tigray, and then maybe later referendum can be held. There was talk about alleged presence of Eritrean military in Tigray, that Eritrean military committed allegedly atrocities, human rights abuses against Tigrayans. Eritrean military is still there. It has not withdrawn from parts of Tigray. Lawmakers called for solution to the conflict in Amhara, that through dialogue this conflict can be resolved. Oromo Amhara conflict can also be resolved through dialogue. So what is needed is that Ethiopian government should be convinced that only through dialogue, through negotiation, conflicts can be resolved. US should not allow its financial support for Ethiopia to be diverted towards Ethiopian military campaigns, internal or external. So that is a brief summary of the hearing of US House Committee on Foreign Relations. It means that US is using carrot and stick policy. It won't, though we heard yesterday that some Paris Club members and others, they suspended Ethiopian loan repayments for 2 years. And we were saying that maybe a staff level agreement between IMF and Ethiopian government was going to happen. But US maybe wants concrete action before such an agreement is signed. Concrete action about the status of Western Tigray, हमारा बोल का ऐसे कहते हैं. Concrete progress from Ethiopian government about talks with groups in Amhara, in Oromia. And maybe US wants Ethiopia to send a message to Eritrea that Eritrea must withdraw its forces from the territories on Ethiopia-Eritrea border, Tigray-Eritrea border. Let's see what happens. So far, Mike Hammer is fully engaged. US diplomats are fully engaged, in touch with Ethiopian PM Abiy. It seems, by the way, after watching the US committee hearing, I got this impression that now US is a major player in Ethiopia, or one of the major players in Ethiopia. Ethiopia will now be under the influence of US for years, especially if IMF gives loan of a few billion US dollars to Ethiopia. Ethiopia will be at US camp, not at Chinese, Russian camps. Though Ethiopia has good ties with China, Russia too, but I think Ethiopia will be mainly relying on US support for survival. Secondly, our Sudanese leaders are all praised for Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki. Isaias Afwerki has taken a very clear position in the conflict in Sudan. A few months ago, Eritrea announced to be neutral, impartial in Sudan. It called for homegrown solution to the war in Sudan. But things changed later. Later we saw that Al-Burhan, Sudanese military chief, visited Eritrea twice. Then Jubba peace deal secretaries, including Min Minnawi, Jibril Ibrahim, others, they also visited Eritrea. They had meetings there with Al-Burhan too. So now Eritrea is on the side of Sudanese military, led by Abdul Fattah al-Burhan. Some other regional players are supporting rapid support forces like the UAE, which I mentioned in some videos. That is why Yasser Al-Attah, a top Sudanese general, used the word mafia for UAE's government. That UAE's government is supporting rapid support forces through Uganda, Central African Republic, and Chad. But the same general, Yasser Al-Attah, yesterday spoke, and he was all praised for Isaias Afwerki. He said, Isaias Afwerki is an African icon. That African icon, by the way, last year offered to mediate between Sudanese military and FFC, but that African icon was not allowed to mediate. that African icons' offer of mediation was rejected by Al Burhan and Hameti too. Both were part of the same bloc last year. But now Isaias Afwerki is an African icon because he's supporting Sudanese military. Yasser Lata says that Isaias Afwerki is fighting for the dignity of Africa, the dignity of African people. He is an African icon. So that is how icons are established and created in Africa, that those who support you are icons. Those who don't support you are dictators, are the worst rulers, according to your understanding. Isaias Afwerki, Sudanese army relations are very friendly, ideal these days. Eritrea has now penetration deep in Sudan, you can say, and in case of any Ethiopia-Eritrea tensions, we wouldn't be surprised if we knew that Sudanese government, Sudan military was supporting Eritrean forces. So regionally, Isaias Afwerki has managed to forge an alliance with Sudan, with Somalia. So Kenny also on good terms with Isaias Afwerki. Ruto. Thank you for watching.